My dear brothers and sisters, today, Friday 28th of September, and today especially when we see how Jesus is hearing about the others. But before that, St. Paul is talking about these Corinthians, who some of these Corinthians who have been converted, but they have stopped believing in the resurrection of Jesus. Now he is suspecting whether some of these people are the Sadducees, because among the Pharisees and Sadducees, Pharisees believed in the resurrection, but the Sadducees never believed in the resurrection. And so therefore, he feels that some of the new Christians may have become, maybe there are some Sadducees, or maybe some other Sadducees may have gone among them to tell them not to believe in the resurrection of Jesus. Now, my dear brothers and sisters, he says if there is no resurrection of Jesus, then the whole life of Jesus is useless, because he has conquered death. The first man who really brought us to sin and death. And this man, Jesus, who really, because of his resurrection, he has conquered death, and we have eternal life. Therefore, we must always believe that there is resurrection. And this resurrection of Jesus really helps us to go to this eternal life after our death. Now, in the gospel today, we see how this Jesus who goes to different places. Now, these women there are also some women who have gone with him, and also the apostles with him along to different villages and different towns in order to preach and spread the gospel. But these people really felt that, these women especially, they felt that we have gained something from this Jesus, and we have really experienced life in Jesus. So therefore they must have been sick, or they must have been healed by Jesus, or they must have experienced some sorts of healing touch in their lives. So they want to go along with Jesus and his friends to different towns and different villages to help them. And they are serving him with all the possible resources, especially also money and the way of cooking and food and all those things. So these people who go along with Jesus, they also want to know that Jesus is really a life and death, and he has conquered death in order to enjoy life in eternity. My dear brothers and sisters, let us not forget the resurrection of Jesus is the center and focal point of our faith. And it is this faith that Jesus came, or God the Father sent Jesus in our midst. And Jesus has already proclaimed about his own future in the past, at least 3 times in the gospel that we have here, that I will really be crucified, I will die, and I will rise again after 3 days. And this is all the 3 times that we hear is the fact that Jesus is truly risen. And it is all the apostles, and especially many people like 50 people or 500 people who have really experienced that. And at the end, St. Paul himself had experienced this risen Jesus, and because of that, he was converted and giving his whole life for Jesus. So people must not think that Jesus is not risen. He is with us, and he will always take us to life in eternity.